What's up, Dynasty fam? Today I'm going to give you 7 moves to make in your Dynasty leagues for your fantasy football team. Starting off with honorable mention, we have Stash Zavier Scott, RB out of Minnesota. So Aaron Jones suffers a hamstring injury, probably going to miss some time for sure, going to be out next week. Zavier Scott, pretty much right now, the only healthy RB there in that backfield. You had Ty Chandler went to the IR. Also, CJ Ham is on IR right now. So Jones in his age 30 season, looking like he's going to miss a few weeks with that soft tissue injury. I would still keep an eye out on what Minnesota does for during this week. Maybe they can sign someone off of a practice squad. So keep your eyes out for late breaking news and be ready to maybe add someone that they bring in on the waiver wire. But for now, Zavier Scott looking like he did suit out, I believe, this past week. So he was that third RB that suited out. So Zavier Scott, think in the morning, if you miss out on your players, you want to add Zavier Scott as a flyer. Think he's a good player just to stash and see what happens. Maybe he gets a couple of snaps or he's just maybe that RB2 for at least week 3 in that backfield. Now at number 7, guys, week 2 was just absolutely brutal on 4 QBs. Pretty much we lost Burrow looking like for 3 months. JJ McCarthy going to be out 2 to 4 weeks with an ankle injury. Purdy may miss week 3, and also Fields may miss time with a concussion. So we'll see. But definitely now there are some moves that we could make on the waiver wire. So if you can, I would definitely try and roster one of these QBs, all under 50% rostered. And the order of importance that I would place these on would be based on the amount of time that the starting QB is set to miss. So I think Browning would be on the top as Joe Burrow is going to be out for a few months. Then you have Carson Wentz with JJ McCarthy going to be out. Wentz is going to be in a good situation too. Kevin O'Connell offense. We saw Sam Darnold have some success there. He's going to have some good weapons there. So Carson Wentz probably going to start for a couple weeks there in Minnesota. Then you have Mac Jones. I think he might give you maybe 1 to 2 more weeks. We'll see how long. Purdy is not on IR. Already missed 1 week. So Mac Jones just had a good week too. I think got close to 20 fantasy points, 19 or 20 fantasy points. So if Mac Jones is on there, he might give you another 1 to 2 week start. And then you have Tyrod Taylor. If Justin Fields misses a week 3, he's going to be the man there for week 3. Also, I think Jameis Winston, I think, is a decent stash. I know Russell Wilson had a big game for fantasy, but Giants now lose again. And I think they're probably going to go with Jackson Dart eventually. And I think Jameis Winston is just a good guy to pretty much stash and see. Maybe somebody makes an offer for Jameis Winston, a little trade offer, and brings him on board. And then he could have a potential starting QB for your Superflex leagues. Now, next thing we're going to talk about is going to be offer up your placeholder QB. So we're talking about if you have Spencer Rattler, who just had a 20-point game himself. Then you have Russell Wilson coming off a big week, and Daniel Jones back-to-back weeks. But I think if you could shop one of these potential placeholder QBs that is, maybe off to a good start or a starting QB right now, I'd be fine with getting a second, maybe a player and I like in a second, and then you can offer one of the maybe Rattler or Russell Wilson in a third. I think for Daniel Jones, though, I think you could try to get a first. You can maybe create the story that he could start maybe the rest of the year, or if he has a big year, someone else will sign him. But he's off to a good start, looking good. 29 and 22 fantasy points in week 1 and week 2. He's the QB2 right now in fantasy, and just back-to-back 20-point weeks. So definitely hit up those owners that are QB needy right now. If they miss out on the waiver wire, especially, try and make a deal with one of these players. I think if you could even go after guys like Tuden, Corum, Jaden Blue, Caleb Johnson, some of those guys that are – Tuden might be a little bit harder, but some of these other guys that haven't really popped yet, if you can get one of those players on a second, I would definitely try to do that with Daniel Jones, even if I got to throw in my third with it. And then if you can move off of Rattler and Russell Wilson as well, I would definitely be trying to do that with those teams that are QB needy right now. Now at number 5, I have Hunter Renfro, 31% rostered. You have Coker on IR. I think Coker might be a good player too that you can maybe buy for cheap right now. But Bryce Young he loves those slot receivers. We've seen Thielen have some success there, and now Renfro with a huge 23-point game in week 2. Renfro ties Ted McMillan for the most routes run with 53. Also pulls in 1 less target. He had 9 targets. Ted had 10. And in that, he gets 7 receptions for 48 yards and 2 touchdowns. So if that type of production is on your waiver wire, I would definitely be adding Renfro. And at number 4, we have add Miles Sanders, 50% rostered, and just the backup RB for the Cowboys should have a higher roster percentage. Jaden Blue off to a bad start. Another week of being a healthy scratch for Jaden Blue. If you didn't listen to last week's episode, definitely listen to our thoughts on Blue, as I think he is a good little buy low as well right now. But for now, Miles Sanders is looking like he is the RB2 in Dallas. Javonte has looked really good so far. RB3 overall after the first 2 weeks. He had 20 points and 25 fantasy points in week 2. So the Cowboys RB, pretty much whoever it is going to produce. We saw it last year as well with Dowdle. So right now, this past week, Sanders gets a TD in week 2, 5 carries for 15 yards, 2 receptions, only 4 yards. Not great, but still a good handcuff that we should have. And I think that he should have a higher roster percentage in Dynasty leagues. So if something were to happen to Javonte, definitely would get a good bump in value and opportunity for Miles Sanders. So if he's out there on your waiver wire, I would definitely be adding him this week. So if you guys are enjoying the video, be sure to like and subscribe, join our Discord, and also our social media links. Now at move number 3, we have add Tyquan Thornton for the Kansas City Chiefs. He is 40% rostered right now. This past week, he ties for the most routes run in Kansas City with 30 routes, tied Marquise Brown, also ties him in targets with 5. Chiefs are just desperate for production, looking for it anywhere they can. And that wide receiver position is just depleted right now. Thornton has some good opportunity in the upcoming weeks there in KC. And he only converted on 2 of those 5 targets, got 59 yards and a touchdown for 13.9 fantasy points. But I think he's got some good big play upside there as the deep threat in KC. So while they're hurting at the wide receiver position, I think Tyquan Thornton is a decent guy to have on your rosters. Could give you some big splash weeks. At number 2, we have add Jeremy McNichols, 8% rostered there from the Washington Commanders. Now, Eckler suffers an Achilles injury, going to be out this season. Chris Rodriguez was a healthy scratch, but if he's out there on your waiver wire, he's a little bit higher rostered, close to 60% rostered. He's also a good stash as well. Probably going to be back into the mix in week 3. But McNichols is more likely to fill in for that Austin Eckler role. When Eckler went down, we saw McNichols come fill right in there in the pass catching situations, ran 12 routes. So I think Krosky Merritt obviously is going to get a good bump, probably get a little bit of receiving work as well, I think. But I think McNichols is going to get a uptick in snaps and some receiving work. So I think he's a good add right now in that Washington Commanders backfield. Also keep an eye on if they bring anybody else in, any vets, see if they shake that backfield up a little bit more. And at number 1, guys, number 1 move I think right now going to be to buy Matthew Golden. There's been some negativity about him. I know owners are disappointed. It's only been 2 weeks. Sometimes people can get impatient. So I think it's going to happen for Golden soon. He could have had a 90-yard touchdown already in week 2. Getting the separation that he pretty much blew by his defenders. They just mistimed it with Jordan Love, overthrew him just a little bit, but he pretty much could have had about a 92, 93-yard touchdown already in week 2. I think it's just a matter of time. He's getting open with his speed. It just hasn't happened yet. Now you have Jaden Reed going to miss 6 to 8 weeks, possibly with a shoulder injury. And Golden is going to get some good opportunity to produce in these upcoming weeks. I think now is a good time to try and grab him. Only 2 targets, but he also had 2 carries. So I like that they're giving him some opportunities to make plays on the ground as well, to utilize his speed. So Golden owners are down on him. And even after Reed went down, guys, people were expecting a big game from Golden, and we were let down, or they were let down again. So I think now is a great time to make a deal for Golden. So that is all I have for you guys today. Let me know in the comments the moves that you are trying to make this week heading into week 3. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe.